Well, I wanted to get this review out like 3 weeks ago when it was Groundhog's Day due to the similarity of this movie and the movie starring Bill Murray. Wait a minute. Maybe I did release this movie 3 weeks ago and I'm just reliving the same day over and over again. Hit the button. Let's get started. Hey there, hi there, ho there, Andrew here, the horror host of Generations X, Y, and Z inside Davis Manor with a review of Happy Death Day. And before I begin this review, a big old shout out goes to the patrons of the channel. These fine individuals have joined me on an awesome journey of creating very cool things like this free video that you are watching right now. You too can be part of the show by clicking the link above or the links in the description box or at the end of the video, all while earning some swag and, more importantly, having a say in the direction of the channel and future projects. So let's get into Happy Death Day, which is kind of a horror slash mystery slash thriller. It's basically the story of a college student that must relive the day of her murder over and over again until she correctly identifies who her killer is. This film was written by Scott Lobdell, directed by Christopher Landon, and stars Jessica Roth, Israel Brassard, Rachel Matthews, and Ruby Modine. And I have to say, the concept of this movie really intrigued me. I mean, from the moment that I saw the trailer, I was like, yes, I want to go ahead and see this. And yes, the trailer does give away a few things. I mean, it's not really spoilers because the concept of the story is that the heroine dies and keeps on dying a couple of times. But the concept itself was pretty cool. And here we have a survivor girl, and her name is Tree, nickname for Teresa. No one names their kid Tree unless they're a hippie. Tree is... She is a survivor girl, but she's not, because she keeps on dying. So I don't know. I'm going to call her a survivor girl just the same. But she is living longer and longer every day because she's trying to find out who is killing her, basically. And after watching the first 15 minutes of this movie, it is safe to say that you've watched over half of the movie, which can be scary in itself since the movie is an hour and a half long. But this is where the writer Lobdell and the director Landon, plus the editor whose name is Gregory Plotkin, I believe, they really shine. You see, they take the same story that's on repeat over and over again, and they make a few changes here and there, and they use different angles in the visual storytelling. I just spit. I don't know if you saw that, but man, that just, it almost made a rainbow off the light that's shining on me. It was pretty cool. No special effects needed. So anyways, the movie felt very fluid. The pacing was pretty good, and it really didn't feel like you were watching the actors just repeating their lines over and over. In fact, the acting in this movie is pretty solid through the primary actors, and you would expect them just to have the same lines over and over because Tree is reliving the day, but their lines, albeit expected, are being delivered differently because Tree is reliving the day differently, and it's really a nice touch. In all fairness, this movie does the genre really well for being a PG-13 movie by Blumhouse. It was written, originally the screenplay, with an R rating in mind, and the deaths were much more brutal, but the director chose to alter the death scenes completely, and I don't think it weakened the movie at all. The cinematography is solid due to the director of photography, Toby Oliver, and the music by Bear McCreary keeps the tension at the right spots, and if that name sounds familiar, it's because Bear is probably best known for creating the Walking Dead theme. I really enjoyed the visuals of this movie, and you have no idea why I'm smiling, but this is like the 7th time I've made this take, and I have no idea where I'm going with this. But I enjoyed the visuals of this movie, basically the slow descent of Tree's sanity, my own sanity putting it into this right now. But basically seeing how the director of photography, the cinematographer, and the director wanted to visually get Tree Gelman, the actress that plays Tree Gelman, her face and her frustration over and over again. I am reliving this over and over again. Let's just go on. What's the next thing I want to talk about? Oh yeah, speaking of Tree's reactions, I actually loved Jessica Rothe's performance as Tree Gelman. To see her character develop over the movie from being the self-absorbed homewrecker of a girl who doesn't care about anybody due to her own baggage, to the way that she ends up by the end of the movie is just great. And Israel Broussard channels his inner Peter Parker as Carter Davis, nice last name by the way, as the quintessential nice guy on campus and love interest. But don't consider this a love fest review of the movie. It's not. I mean, this movie has its problems as well. I mean, first, I have to say, is the characters. Even though I feel that the actors did a great job, all the actors did a great job with the characters that they had, the characters besides Tree and Carter are just completely flat. I mean, there is no character development for these characters at all, basically. I mean, we're watching them play out the same thing over and over and repeat their lines, albeit a little bit differently because they're reacting to Tree a little bit differently. But it's the same thing, and you would think that because the angles are different or because Tree comes to them in a different way, that there might be some type of character development, but there isn't. They are just the typical stock archetype characters that you would expect. And when I say that they're stock characters, I mean you've got the mousy roommate named Lori, you've got the queen bee of the sorority house, Danielle, and you've got the stereotypical Asian college roommate friend. His name's Ryan. Well, I mean, the character's name is Ryan. The actor's name is Fivu? Is it Fivu? Fivu? Fumvu? Deja vu? And another thing that struck me odd was the choice of the killer's mask. In the original script, the Bayfield University's mascot was a pig, probably as in like the Bay of Pigs, but it was decided that the pig mask would be too close to the Saw franchise, so therefore they decided to come up with a new mask idea, which was making the Bayfield University's mascot into a baby, making it the Babyface Killer. Side note, the person that created the Babyface Killer mask was none other than Tony Gardner, who designed the Ghostface Killer mask from the movie Scream. So if you felt, like I did, when you're watching the Babyface Killer, the same mannerisms, the same look and everything, if you felt a certain similarity, you were on point like I was. And the last negative I have about this movie was the reason that the killer was doing everything in the first place. It just did not seem to gel for me. Not that killers really need to have a motivation. Sometimes not having a motivation can be a good thing. But the ending was a bit telegraphed, and I did see it coming before it got there. Actually, I was hoping I wasn't right, but I was. However, that didn't ruin the movie for me. I thought it was a good popcorn flick, and I think it's pretty rewatchable, so it's a fun enough movie to put into your library, and my final verdict is that you should own it. So do you agree with me or disagree with me? Go ahead, leave a comment down below, and remember, like, share, subscribe, plus hit that bell icon so you get notified the moment I upload. And I will see you in the next video.